Good morning. Welcome to the University of Vermont's 2024 RISE Summit, our annual exposition of research, innovation, sustainability, and entrepreneurship. My name is Patricia, and I'm the director of UVM's Leahy Institute for Rural Partnerships, your host. There are 800 of us. There are 800 of us gathered here in this room and online. We are grateful to each of you for your time, your interest, and for your ideas. We are here to share the aspirations for our places, and we recognize that history should always be relevant to these aspirations. And in that spirit, I would like to share UVM's land acknowledgement. The campus of the University of Vermont sits within a place of gathering and exchange, shaped by water and stewarded by ongoing generations of indigenous peoples, in particular, the Western Abenaki. Acknowledging the relations between water, land, and people is in harmony with the mission of this university. Acknowledging the serious and significant impacts of our histories on indigenous peoples and their homelands is a part of the university's ongoing work of teaching, research, and engagement, and an essential reminder of our past and our interconnected futures for the many of us gathered on this land. UVM respects the indigenous knowledge interwoven in this place and commits to uplifting indigenous peoples and cultures present on this land and within our community. And our aspirations continue. A young family I know walks to a local farmer's market every Thursday in their small town. It's not only a place to fill up on fresh local food, it's also a place where the family enjoys connecting with neighbors. Just down the road, one of the local farmers who grows food for the farmer's market is part of building a new food production facility and store in a historic barn. And a half hour up the road, a local volunteer is revitalizing a town's senior meals site after hearing about how much the community missed this opportunity to gather. Now, these snapshots might seem quaint and heartwarming, and they are, but success at farmers markets and food hubs and senior meal sites is hard-won. It requires people to make collective decisions about building and growing programs, to provide the effort and the funding, and as one volunteer told us, a lot of love for these places and the people who live in them. And while it's never easy, making our places better is why so many of you are here. I looked over the registration, and I know there are people here with ideas and plans for their own places. One of you wants to make a map of all the resources available in the region for entrepreneurs. Another one of you has an idea about using semiconductor technology to develop a new energy efficiency solution. You in the back believe that public art can make people healthier. Another group wants to track the human health impacts of climate change. And more than one of you is here because your town is overwhelmed by the risks associated with climate change, and you're looking for resources and ideas. Someone here thinks they have a cure for the sores on the hooves of dairy cows. You know who you are. I have observed this about people. We all want to live in places where we can be healthy, where we can make a good living, and where we can live lives of purpose. And here's another thing I know to be true. Research universities like this one, with our technological analytical, and creative capacities can be essential in helping to make our places healthy, prosperous, and purposeful. Wouldn't it be helpful to have the data, analytical skills, and the platforms to make and share that entrepreneurship map? Couldn't our research engineers help to accelerate that energy efficiency innovation? Our College of Art and our College of Medicine could probably demonstrate the benefit of public art to well-being. Our researchers across many disciplines who regularly support internships and project-based learning, they are ready to dive deep into the health impacts of climate change. And help for our communities in the wake of climate change has and will come from this university in the form of community development, planning assistance, research support, expertise in hydrology and wetland recovery, support for climate-impacted farms, and data that municipalities need to qualify for federal aid. We hope that our panels, speakers, and presenters will inspire you to think big about your place and your ideas. Our first keynote, Tony Pippa, will challenge us to think more broadly about the potential of rural places. Dr. Shavonda Jacobs-Young will pitch science as a means for progress. Our provost, Patty Prelock, will explain why planetary health is most relevant to making our places better. Now let's go back to our town with the farmers market and the food hub and the meal site, which happens to be in Vermont's Northeast Kingdom. With grant funding from the Leahy Institute for Rural Partnerships, UVM's Institute for Agroecology research team is working in collaboration with 3 partners there to better understand how well these programs are meeting the needs and aspirations of that community now and into the future. Through participatory action research, helpful data and information is already emerging, and everyone is learning. The Agroecology Institute plans to exchange learning about this Northeast Kingdom project with their global network that is currently working to grow sustainable and equitable food systems around the world. This is our work, connecting our research resources here at the university with communities engaged in the challenging work of making their places better, and hopefully adding knowledge to the broader community. You will hear about more of our partnership projects in our Placemaking Tools panel, during the panel discussion about the UVM Vermont Agency of Education Community School Research Partnership, and more. I strongly urge you to listen in to our final panel on Tuesday, where we will record our first Partners in Place podcast about this very Northeast Kingdom Food Systems Research Partnership. I am pleased to announce that this morning, the Leahy Institute for Rural Partnerships is opening its second grant round. You can visit our website at uvm.edu, Rural Partnerships, learn about our work, connect with us to identify partners, and consider applying, and you don't need to get up and run to your computers. You have until September. A few important things to know about RISE today and tomorrow. Throughout the summit, you'll have an opportunity to share your thoughts and respond to questions at the microphones and for our online audience in the Zoom chat. The RISE Summit schedule is printed on your tables and is available via the QR code on the back of your badge. Now, if you're like me, you've already scanned the schedule to find out when lunch is. It's at 12:45 today, I've already checked. During lunch, please join one of our optional lunch and learn conversations in the Levac Ballroom on the west side of the building. You'll have time to get your lunch, and we have tables set up so you can enjoy your lunch while you're listening in. Before we begin, I'd like to share some important thank yous. First, to our sponsors for their generous support for RISE, and a special thanks to our Catalyst sponsors, Sodexo and the Vermont Community Foundation. Sodexo will also be feeding us. Thank you to our congressional delegation for sending representatives here for the full 2 days. Catherine Van Haste is representing Senator Sanders. Fauna Hurley and Ryan McLaren are here representing Senator Welch. David Scher is representing Congresswoman Ballant. Thank you. We look forward. And we look forward to welcoming Senator Welch in person tomorrow. We appreciate the presence of so many Vermont legislators and municipal leaders. Thank you so much for coming. We also have Leahy Institute Board of Advisors members here and UVM trustees. Thank you. To our good friends and Institute for Rural Partnership Consortium members, the University of Wisconsin-Madison and Auburn University, I so appreciate having you as peers as we elevate university-community collaboration in the work of rural development. Thank you to our funder and collaborator, the National Institute for Food and Agriculture of the USDA. You all made the trip to Vermont for a second time in support of our consortium. Thank you. Maureen Cartier and her event services team have pulled this conference together with professionalism, grace, and a lot of patience. A very special thank you to Maureen, who has been working with us since last summer to assure that this event would be a success. A shout out to the Fuse Marketing and to UVM Strategic Communications for helping us let the world know about the RISE Summit and look good while doing so. To our Vice President for Research and Economic Development, Kirk Dombrowski, for his ready support and guidance, and to him and his team for supporting our work and lending extra hands for our many causes. My very sincere thanks to the Office of Engagement and Leahy Institute team for always getting the job done, like hosting a summit for 800, opening a new grant round, and holding an advisory board meeting in the same 24 hours. Emma Spett, Michelle Carodi, Daria Girani, Cecilia Boyson, Kristen Andrews, Kevin Coburn, Wayne Maseka, and honorary team member Josh Deffabaugh. Thank you. Tomorrow afternoon, when he is here to give the first annual Distinguished Community Engagement Award, I will thank Senator Leahy for his support of the funds that let us do this work, for lending his name to our institute, and for the inspiration to do our part to help all Vermont communities thrive. Finally, a special thanks to UVM President Suresh Garimella, whose vision for a university that works in partnership with its community inspired the creation of the Office of Engagement and the Leahy Institute for Rural Partnerships. He challenges us to find new and meaningful opportunities to serve our state. It is my pleasure to introduce President Garimella.
Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see a full room. I don't come bearing gifts like Tricia, but I take credit for that anyway. So do please look up the new call for the next round of Leahy Institute grants. We would love to work with you, bring our colleagues at the university together with you all to solve problems that we all know need to be solved urgently. But first, let me thank Tricia. Friends, I want to acknowledge the excellent and important work that Tricia is doing and has done this first year as director of the Leahy Institute for Rural Partnerships and the Office of Engagement. These efforts are making a significant impact. Across the state, in every one of our 14 counties, and I think you all understand that we're following the great example of our friend, Patrick Leahy, who cared throughout his 48 years about all parts of the state, and we're hoping to follow in his footsteps with this work. lifting up our communities. There's not a more important thing that the University of Vermont as a land-grant institution could do. And one portion of this effort is really the real power of convening that the university can bring, and that public universities, public flagships bring across the country. The convening helps bring solutions-minded people together to spark ideas and launch meaningful action. So that is the purpose of these RISE summits. This is the second in a row. Tricia and her team have done an excellent job planning these conversations, and so I thank them, along with all the others, making today possible. I echo Tricia's thanks to our partners around the state, to keynote speakers, to panel discussants, our folks that will be contributing to various parts of the conversation here, and to all of you here today that are going to be part of the solution. In particular, we have a table here. Apparently, they want to hang out in packs. Our state legislators are here. Some of them are trustees, my bosses. We've got, as Tricia said, a representation from our congressional delegation. And so we're just very thankful for all of you that showed up for 2 days of wonderful discussions. And for those of you joining remotely, so I hope that you have a meaningful engagement even if you're remote. Please send in your questions, as Tricia mentioned. When we hosted RISE last year, it was the first time, and we were not sure how it would go. And we had, 950 participants, a lot of hunger, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. And that's what I mean by the convening power of a university. It was about new ideas. It was about big questions our researchers are asking, and about the promise for addressing the daunting challenges through better understanding, through technology, through science. We had Kyle Clark of Beta here, who was talking about decarbonizing transportation. Right? We had a UVM student, I recall, last year, who spoke about a new way to create saline solutions that bring that assist with healthcare in sort of very remote areas. And of course, we had an art studio director articulating the value of the creative economy to Vermont. This year's RISE promises more such big question conversations, inspiring examples of research in action, and I'm certain some provocative new ideas. For example, you'll hear about thoughtful growth in 3 communities driven by their determined expansion of a tech economy. How innovative wastewater mapping can support smart housing development, and inspiring discussions of the key elements of a place necessary for entrepreneurs to be creative. There are many, there's much more, and you've all got the agendas in front of you. This summit is closely related to the work that the university is doing to have such conversations all year long, all across the state. 5 years ago, I started the Office of Engagement and challenged my colleagues to work with businesses, nonprofits, and agencies in all 14 counties to create connections with UVM and to support the work of faculty and staff already engaged in community. I was saying hello to Penrose Jackson this morning, and she said, thank you for not forgetting about the rest of the state. I really want you all to feel that UVM is here as a partner to the entire state, and I hope you're seeing increasingly year after year that we're here to stay, and that we really mean that. Our university is and will be a critical part of the solution to many of the challenges we face. Climate impacts to our ecosystem and towns, access to high-quality education and healthcare, growing our economy in ways that include all Vermonters and that steward our environment. Success at UVM is fully intertwined with the success of Vermont. So with energy from the Office of Engagement and its partners in, of course, the Office of Research and Economic Development, as well as our colleges and schools, we've expanded research partnerships, internships and career opportunities, and opened new collaborations with agencies and industry groups. For example, we have a new consortium with energy utilities and companies focused on renewable and resilient energy systems. We have internships with food systems organizations in the Northeast Kingdom, as Tricia mentioned, and we have a partnership with Global Foundries on next-generation technology research. I hope you've all heard about the very exciting work we're doing with the Tech Hub with so many partners. Now, with the Leahy Institute for Rural Partnerships, we had the opportunity to pilot collaborations with new partners in areas we may not have reached before. For example, we're working with the Ethiopian Community Development Committee in Windham County to provide research and support of their rural refugee resettlement project. We're working statewide with the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, I see they have a booth outside, to support professional development for municipal managers. And we're working with 5 school districts with research into the effectiveness of the community schools model. We know that this place-based work can be powerful, and that's why we're participating in national conversations to share and receive knowledge about rural economic and community development strategies. We're part of a national consortium of rural partnership institutes, like Tricia said. Our partners from Auburn and the University of Wisconsin-Madison are here. We regularly share creative solutions to challenging rural issues in our regions, and we're bringing our knowledge as well as our questions to national conferences and conversations. Today, we'll hear from a leader in rural development policy and thinking, Tony Pippa, and tomorrow, we'll hear from 2 other champions of rural development across the United States, my good friends, Dr. Shavonda Jacobs-Young, the USDA chief scientist, and of course, our very dear US Senator, Peter Welch. RISE is about research, innovation, sustainability, and entrepreneurship. These ideas and strategies can strengthen our communities, our businesses, our schools, and our agencies with unique tools like mapping or data analysis, tech solutions for clean water, and access to research, analysis, and national and international networks of practice. I encourage you to listen, learn, and participate over the next 2 days as you hear about the work that UVM is supporting around the state and about the programs happening across Vermont and the United States that are inspiring to you. And then, please come and engage with us. Our front door is open, and we want to hear from you, and we want to work with you. Thank you again for joining us, and I hope you're looking forward to the exciting conversation of the next 2 days. I know I am. So thanks all for coming, and I now have the pleasure of introducing my best hire at UVM. Anybody else I hired, don't listen to me. Kirk Dombrowski came here in my 2nd year. He's been such a breath of fresh air at UVM and across the state. He's a bundle of energy. A lot of what we've accomplished to bring people together, to bring ideas to fruition, are because of his energy and that of his team, and the best is yet to come. I keep telling him that we can double our efforts in the next 2 years. So I remind him at every opportunity I have. So Kirk Dombrowski next, our Vice President for Research and Economic Development. Thank you all.